Sometimes, the Bible's most powerful moments don't come from grand miracles or public heroes. They come from the quiet corners, from people whose small, unseen choices changed the course of history. In a world obsessed with influence, followers, and fame, it's easy to forget that God often works through the unnoticed. Today, we're uncovering the beauty and power of small acts, those moments of simple obedience and faith that might seem insignificant, but in God's hands, they carry eternal impact. So let's explore how little things, a kind word, a small gift, a simple yes, can move mountains in ways we never imagined. Let's begin with Ruth, a woman who had every reason to walk away. She had lost her husband, her future uncertain. Yet she said these words that still echo across time. "Where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people and your God, my God." A simple act of loyalty, a quiet decision made in grief, became the seed of a royal lineage. From Ruth came King David, and eventually, Jesus Christ himself. That is the butterfly effect of faith, when a small yes in the moment creates waves for generations. Then there's Barnabas, the encourager. When everyone doubted Saul, afraid of his past, Barnabas believed in him. He vouched for Paul and opened doors no one else would. His act of friendship and faith helped unleash one of the greatest ministries in history, and the gospel spread far beyond Jerusalem because of it. And what about the widow's mite? She gave 2 small coins, all she had. Jesus noticed her and said she gave more than all the others because she gave from the heart. These small, quiet moments, loyalty, encouragement, generosity, became divine instruments in God's symphony of history. Before Queen Esther ever stood before the king, she fasted and prayed, unseen, unheard, unknown. The world remembers her bravery, but heaven remembers her preparation. The real power often happens before the spotlight, in those secret moments of faith when nobody is watching but God. It reminds us that spiritual victory often starts in silence, in prayer, in patience, in the quiet yes of obedience. Maybe you felt invisible, like your efforts don't matter. But remember, unseen doesn't mean unimportant. The greatest works of God often begin where no one is looking. Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, the smallest of all seeds. Yet when it grows, it becomes a great tree where birds find shelter." Faith doesn't need to be big. It needs to be planted. Maybe your mustard seed today is reaching out to someone who feels forgotten, inviting a friend to church, or offering encouragement to someone struggling. It may seem small, but in God's economy, small things multiply. One kind word can heal a wound. One prayer can shift a heart. One act of kindness can change a generation. There's a boy in the Gospels whose name we never learn. The boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish. He didn't preach. He didn't lead. He simply shared what he had. And from that small act, Jesus fed thousands. That's the mystery of grace. When human generosity meets divine multiplication, even the smallest offering, when given with faith, becomes a miracle. And then there's Onesimus, a runaway slave whose story in Philemon became a message of forgiveness. His reconciliation was a quiet, personal act, but it still speaks centuries later about redemption and grace. These stories remind us that God measures greatness differently. He sees the heart behind the action, not the applause that follows it. So how do we bring this truth into our own lives? Here are 5 ways to live the small acts gospel. First, reach out. Send a text or make a call to someone who needs encouragement. Second, volunteer. Give 1 hour to serve your church, community, or neighbor. Third, show kindness. A simple smile, a note, or a kind word can change someone's day. Fourth, pray for others. Take a moment today to pray for someone quietly. And fifth, give generously. Even a small gift, given with love, can be multiplied by God. Remember, impact doesn't always come with noise. Sometimes it comes through stillness, humility, and grace. I'll never forget a day I felt a quiet nudge to message a friend who had been distant and struggling. It didn't seem like much, just a small text. But that one moment opened a deep conversation, renewed his hope, and reminded me that God often moves through the simplest gestures of care. So here's your challenge for this week. Do one small act, a quiet, faithful gesture, because sometimes the smallest seed you plant becomes the greatest miracle in someone else's story. Thank you for joining me today. If this message inspired you, hit like, leave a comment about a small act that changed your life, and subscribe to Strive for Excellence for more stories of faith, purpose, and transformation. Your greatness is already within you. Let's grow it together.